A wise man once said, patience is a virtue. And I know that James Wiseman didn't exactly make the splash upon entering the league that a lot of people thought he would. 7'1", a towering and prolific center prospect. Second overall pick in 2020, right before LaMelo Ball, right after Anthony Edwards. And in comparison to those two guys, we haven't seen anything. I mean, literally, James Wiseman has only played 39 games, official NBA games in his career. The reason why the video is titled Year 2 is because last year doesn't count. Patience is a virtue. Remember, Joel Embiid didn't play in his first 2 years in the NBA? Now look at him. It's funny, Joel Embiid is literally the poster child for injury-prone center that misses time early in his career and gets written off, and then exceeds all expectations to the fullest extent. You can be an MVP runner-up, even if you miss your first 2 years. And it's incredible because now we know that that's possible, and not enough respect for Joel Embiid for doing that. I mean, nobody was talking about him for years, and little did they know he would revive their entire team and franchise. But enough about Joel Embiid. If James Wiseman even becomes half of Joel Embiid, the Golden State Warriors can repeat. I actually said before last year that the Golden State Warriors could only win the NBA Finals last year if James Wiseman played. And obviously didn't age very well at all. It took an inhuman Steph Curry performance in the NBA Finals to win. Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole just completely exceeding expectations, despite Draymond and Clay. Well, Clay came back and actually played, and he had some pretty good games. He wasn't amazing. He wasn't prime Clay. But Draymond, despite being a great defensive player, offering you absolutely nothing on offense. And who else do the Warriors have as their centers, is what I was thinking. Like, you can't just play Draymond and Kevon Looney and whoever else they had, Bielitsa, at center all year and win in the playoffs? In the playoffs? Well, let's just say I was clearly mistaken. The Warriors, Golden State, San Francisco is a city of champions once again, and the Warriors are even scarier this year because they've retained essentially their entire team while losing a few pieces that were necessary in their title run. I'm thinking Gary Payton II, that's a big loss, probably their biggest loss. They replaced it with Dante DiVincenzo, who I don't think is as good, but he can certainly fill the role to an extent, shoot better from three-point range at least. No Bielitsa again, and so this is where James Wiseman comes in, because if he was playing last year, he would have had to battle out Bielitsa for minutes, because Looney was going to play. Draymond gets some minutes at the 5, but even then, the Warriors were still pretty thin at the 5 position. If you were that true number 2 overall pick, James Wiseman is, beating out Bielitsa in a rotation shouldn't have been a problem. Now they've replaced Bielitsa with JaMychal Green. To me, that's fairly lateral move. I don't think he offers necessarily more than Bielitsa. Probably a good replacement because he can also shoot the ball from deep, which was kind of the idea of having Bielitsa out there. But still, it remains that the center depth and really the center position for the Warriors team, once again, easily their weakest. If you look at the years throughout the Steph Curry era, or just the championship era for the Warriors, say from 2015 and on, who was their best center on their team? Like, maybe Andrew Bogut, JaVale McGee? Boogie Cousins was probably the best scorer that they had there. But James Wiseman has the potential this year even to just jump into that starting 5 role by the end of the season and be the best center that they've had. Maybe not this year, but he is the key to how the Warriors extend from this era into the late years of Steph Curry's prime when he's 34 right now, I think, which is insane. And he still looks amazing, so you expect Steph will still be top of his game maybe for another year or two. I don't know how wishful thinking that is, but I feel like the guy's determination and commitment to his body is incredible, especially the way he plays. It seems like he could just play forever. And so James Wiseman emerging, it means that maybe they don't need Draymond as much for the future years. If you think Draymond is really kind of falling off and isn't going to be much of a valued player in a few years, I don't know how much truth there is to that assumption, and maybe there isn't any, but Draymond is certainly trending downward over the last couple years, and James Wiseman is a guy that I think with his ceiling, the Warriors think he could be the main guy in their front court in a couple years. But let's just keep it at year 2, because we are getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with that future talk with James Wiseman. Obviously, the potential is incredible if he stays healthy, if he's got good intangibles, good work ethic, smart approach to the game, and commitment to the grind. The sky is certainly the limit, especially with the development staff they have over there in Golden State. Certainly they know what they're doing. So the good thing for Wiseman is that even though he hasn't played a lot of NBA basketball, the opportunity is going to be there. I really don't think he's going to be sitting games out with coach's decision DMP. It would be very surprising to me to see JaMychal Green ahead of him in the rotation. I think it would be incredibly disappointing that if Wiseman is out there, he is not getting 20 minutes a game at least. The Warriors do not want to play Kevon Looney more than 30 minutes in a game if they don't have to. They would love James Wiseman to come in and be just another player for an opposing defense to worry about or opposing offense to worry about underneath the rim blocking shots. The potential is insane because he can offer so much more than a guy like Kevon Looney who plays his role extremely well. It's what keeps him on the court. He's a great cog within the Warriors offense and defense. He just knows exactly what to do. Incredibly coachable, high effort, high motor player with all the intangibles that a guy like Wiseman needs to succeed. That's who he should be learning from because as far as ability is concerned, it's not even close. James Wiseman is taller. He's more mobile. He's a better shooter. And I think James Wiseman will shoot some threes this year, shoot some mid-range shots, space the floor a little bit. We'll see how effective he really is at that and if that's really a direction the Warriors want to take their offense in. But just having another guy the defense has to respect and guard. Like James Wiseman as a rookie shot 32% from three. Not great percentages, but in a very small sample size of games, he displayed that he was not afraid to get shots up. And he could make some of the shots, and he's also not afraid to shoot from mid-range. I will say, early on, watching him in these Japan games, he kind of might have bricks for hands. And this might be a problem. There's a lot of times where he just can't get ready for the ball to come to him. He can't get his hands on the ball, drops the ball, isn't ready for a pass, isn't coordinated enough to make a catch. Guys really have to get him the ball in the right spot. This is another thing. I just think over the time, the more that he plays in the Warriors offense, he'll get used to them. He'll get used to where he's receiving the ball, certain places on the floor, who's going to pass to him when, how they're going to use him. I think the Warriors will cut out a very specific role for him. They will be looking for him, though. Certainly as a lob threat, he's a guy that they could use. This dude is definitely going to keep opposing players, drivers from putting layups up on him. This dude should be able to average a block a game this year. You have to expect some growing pains, especially early on. I mean, this guy's barely played in the NBA. He's been out for a year. He's rusty. When you're playing against some tough teams, you're asking him to do a lot that he just hasn't done before. He just hasn't played basketball at this level before. So he's going to struggle in certain aspects. It's just natural in what's going to happen and treat him like a rookie kind of. He's barely played, like not even half a full season yet. So got to give this guy time to grow. And I'll be interested to see how long they'd like to keep him out there, especially early in the year. But I think if he can stay on the court, really the biggest thing, obviously in 2 years you've only played 30 games, that might be a red flag. If he can play a full season, I think over the course of the year he can emerge and become a starter on this team or at least close games and play starter type minutes as he continues to become acclimated to the team's system on both ends of the floor. And I know that the Warriors, Kevon Looney knows the system better. Their offense and defense will certainly be more smooth and less mistake prone with Looney out there at first until Wiseman really learns the ropes. And as a championship team, you do want to keep that level of continuity, which would make sense if they don't want to play Wiseman that much because he's not ready to be thrown into the fire like that. But here's the thing. The Warriors understand that if they can establish James Wiseman throughout the year, if there's a certain point in the year where he has a great understanding of how the offense and defense works, he's always in the right spots, he's always just doing the right things, the natural skill and ability will just be too much for other teams. And athletic ability, mobility. He just has way too much to work with where he is the ideal starter on this team. If you could just get him to do his job, learn from the tendencies of Kevon Looney, I would say. And yeah, this could be extremely dangerous. Like if he develops and he really becomes a starter by the end of the year, which, like I said, is in play, this team is as good as any team in the NBA. Bucketology. It's the new era, new NBA season, new brand, rebrand. Bucketology. Max Talks Hoops is no more. It was always going to be temporary. It was always going to be interim. It's the new regime. It's time to take over. School is in session. Bucketology.